Hello everyone. Well, it's Mother's Day today, and if you remember, I have 6 grown children, 20 grandchildren. Yeah, I know that's a lot, but wouldn't have it any other way. Love them all so much. I've already heard from a couple of my kids, and we'll probably hear from more of them throughout the day. This farm has been a dream of mine for a long time. I've been teaching for over 25 years and have now retired, and haven't had a chance to really do a farm right. But it's always been a dream of mine to get this land here that has been in my family since 1839 going, and keep it going for many more generations. So very, very blessed in that aspect. So glad that my children have been pitching in and helping us get this done, because it will also benefit them in the future too. I was raised on a farm. My father, he was a farmer, and he primarily raised like corn and soybeans. And we did other things too, like baling hay and those types of things. And my mom always had a big garden. Now my grandfather, his father, he also did like cattle and those kinds of things. Probably why my dad didn't want to do it is because growing up he had to do that. And then of course my great-great-grandfather, you know, they did everything they could, more in the homesteading line, did things that they would have to do to survive. So probably one reason why I'm looking forward to doing all this. One thing that I'm trying my hand at is making maple syrup. This last winter, I tapped a couple trees and I got, probably about a gallon of maple syrup made, because I was just trying it at that point. So now what I've done is I've kind of gone through just a very small part of the property, and I have marked the trees lightly with paint so that come wintertime, I don't have to guess, is that maple, is it not maple, that type of thing. And I've done that to all the trees, just a small patch, and it kind of blends in with some of the the little mossy parts that grow on the tree too. But this winter, I'll be tapping into the trees and trying my hand at a lot more maple syrup. Now, these trees that I have here, that's in my yard, and they have grown really big. So I'm curious to see how much sap I'll actually be able to tap out of the big ones versus a couple smaller ones that I did last winter. One thing that I really like doing on the farm is coming out every morning and feeding my chickens. Yeah, I know that it's not a lot of chickens, but it's just something I enjoy. And they come out and they greet me. It's like, well, what are you going to give me now? What are you going to give me now? And you see they're getting all excited coming out. And that's just something I enjoy doing. I had chickens before, but we didn't have an enclosed pen for them, and just hawks and everything else came and got them one by one and lost them. And so I just didn't have any more for a long time, because I don't like that happening. Now I'm going to be honest, when it comes to the rabbits, that's an iffy thing for me. I know it's part of homesteading, but I look at those little fuzzy faces and it's going to be difficult. So my son, this is the one that he's going to have to take hold of more than me, just because that's a hard one for me. He's able to process, well, basically he's able to kill the chickens and the rabbits. I can't do that. I can help process after an animal's been killed, but I don't know, maybe it's the mom in me, just don't know. But we will manage through it, and it's part of it. The garden is probably where I feel like I bring the most to the table. I was one of 7 children growing up, and we had a very, very large garden. And I had to do quite a bit in that garden. Now I'm gonna come clean with you. As an adult, I have not put out much of a garden. And that's probably from my childhood. We had such a large garden that I remember having the large galvanized tubs, the double tubs, filled with green beans, usually every day, and having to snap those beans. Well, pick the beans, snap the beans, clean the beans, help can the beans, and then we do it all again with the corn and all the other things. So it just, I remember that being a taxing time in my life, having to do all that type of thing for hours on end. But now that I'm older and I see such a spark in my kids about homesteading and gardening, it has brought something out in me too. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying seeing them enjoy it too. Love my family dearly. I've got really good kids too, so that helps. Probably the part that I am dreading the most on the homesteading is having the larger animals. And there's a good reason for that. When my kids were still at home and they were doing the 4-H things and all of that, they didn't help put up very good fencing and that type of thing. So all hours of the day, we had animals that would get out. Plus, we had one cow that didn't seem to care if it got shocked or stuck or whatever, and it would just climb the fence and break it down. We eventually did get rid of the cow. But don't like having to chase after animals. And getting them to herd instead of run after was a chore when they were younger. Because if you've been doing it in homesteading, you know just running after an animal doesn't usually get them in the place that they should be. So I've had a lot of that. So with this round of things, I have told my son that's putting up the fencing that until we have good fence up, that's not going to let animals out, that we don't need to invest in the bigger animals. So he's been working on it as he has time. His wife works full time, and then he has other things that he has to do. So coming here and working on this part of the farm, this is like the site one. He has a farm too. We call it site 2, where he does have, you know, goats and some other animals. He has some of the rabbits there and that type of a thing. But the bigger animals are going to be here eventually, and then maybe at site 2 also. Yeah, I told myself that I could do an entire video for Mother's Day. It's been kind of tough, but just wanted to share this time with all the mothers out there, because let's face it, gentlemen, without the ladies doing the homesteading with you, could you fully do it on your own? How much does the woman at the homestead do around? Quite a bit, I would imagine. Yeah, I'm fortunate that it's not just myself and my husband. I mean, we've been married 41 years. We kind of know what we're doing, but with the physical health not being quite there, it's a little bit more difficult. So our kids are picking up the slack. And what a great place to do it. You can probably hear the nature sounds, the birds are chirping. Yeah, it's wonderful to live out in the country. We did at one point in our life for about 2 years, tried living for one of the years in a bigger city, and then second year in a smaller city. Tried that, did not like it. I was raised out in the country, and I just couldn't adapt to city life. And then once my husband was also out in the country for a while, he's like, I don't know how I ever lived in the city. So it's been quite the event of getting him adjusted, but he's done really well. I mean, he can, over the years, he's been able to do so much. I mean, we even built our own house and, you know, cleared this land, because when we first got it, it was nothing but a bunch of trees and briars. And we started out with axes and stuff and got enough of it so we could see what we liked up here on this land. And eventually we brought in the heavier equipment, but It's just somewhere we've been for a great deal of our lives, and we love it here.
Sorry, I don't need to.
Oh, happy birthday.
Come on, bud.
Happy birthday.
Who, me? I'm not a mother.
Huh?
Tell me again.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Those are beautiful. You know I love my flowers too, so. We're up picking out some pieces of metal to try to fix up some of what you did when you were a kid and you messed up the barn. So
It happens.
it does happen, so we're trying to fix that just a little bit. One of my favorite things to do is spending time with the grandkids and seeing things through their eyes. Who is that over there? What's that goat's name over there?
It's Dolly.
Dottie, yeah.
It's Dolly right there.
Yeah.
Hi, Dolly. I love the baby.
Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed learning a little bit more about me and the farm, and want to wish every lady out there a happy Mother's Day. Until next time, don't forget to like us and subscribe. Bye now.